Cities are products of urbanization, and urban inhabitants practice non-agricultural tasks, so the city cannot produce its own food and consume many goods and products made outside of the city. Therefore, the CBD exhibits many people working in the other industries related to business, finance, recreation, and hospitality, while agriculture and manufacturing that supplies the city are located outside of the grid. My idea of a city of making challenges the current and future relationship between production and consumption. The new model of the city explores and introduces urban agriculture and food manufacturing into the existing city grid with the help of new patterns and solutions that supports urban growing and making. Most importantly, the city of making optimizes visibility as a solution to increase exposure to food production for the average citizens by making making visible. Visibility is achieved by integrating programs that consume the most, like retail with designated production spaces. The project is explored through three scales: large, medium, and small. Large-scale exploration is on the city grid. Data of existing retail spaces in the city is layered with the pedestrian count data at different times to formalize the project scale. In this case, blocks with retail spaces along Swanson Street will be integrated with food production to maximize interaction between pedestrians and the notion of making. Medium-scale exploration will operate on city block number 76, which occupies the cubic complex. The block's floor area dataset observes a good mix of programs with extensive retail and office spaces. Since the new CBD's ground plane is dedicated to public transports and pedestrians, parking space data will be converted into food production and packaging space. The existing topography and condition are kept to retain some of the original characters of Melbourne, which are laneways and heritage buildings. The existing residential and retail spaces are retained and incorporated with the new scheme. A portion of the space is demolished for production spaces in between. New retail and office spaces are added, with retail space acting as a beacon attracting visitors to explore the production spaces. The set of five rules will be introduced and applied to the block to help address the relationship between production and consumption and what opportunity they can create through architecture. Production spaces are placed on site in accordance with the first rule. Spaces for making must be placed between other consumption spaces to increase physical and visual interaction with production. The second rule requires vertical expansion not to interfere with existing green spaces, to prevent the notion of building new structures at the expense of losing nature. Rooftops are utilized as public spaces for various activities. The third rule requires lifts and transportation tubes to be placed on the exterior of buildings, allowing vertical circulation to exist in parallel with products transportation. The fourth rule requires at least 50% of the facade area in production spaces to be transparent to allow visibility from different levels and directions. Space frame systems are then applied at specific spaces to support external circulation. The idea of the space frame structure is to create a container of different programs along the circulation path highlighted in yellow. This designated pathway generates a continuous journey through various programs to showcase the relationship between production and consumption. The pathway actively activates the site, drawing people to explore production spaces while containing retail, cafes, and entertainment programs adjacent and exposed to production spaces. The fifth rule requires production space to be integrated with programs that can attract people to increase interaction between diverse activities. Different structures and architectural devices that can address the temporality of the new retail block are deployed to assist rule number 5. The permanent space frame system is a container of additional space, including the yellow exhibition pathway and additional programs in habitation. The system is only constructed when there is a need for a space expansion at certain levels. The temporary space frame system, on the other hand, is an adaptable and organizable structure that can be constructed and deconstructed when necessary. The system can be connected to the permanent space frames to organize and create temporary spaces, creating more opportunities to maximize exposure to production. They can also be constructed to stand on their own to conceive a new temporary structure containing night market stores or exhibitions. Devices such as movable production spaces are combined with retractable windows and mesh screens, transforming the production process into exhibited objects and activities. This creates a dynamic relationship and interaction between producers and consumers. By combining the projected population data in 30 years and a set of 5 rules introduced to bring production into the CBD, the QV's block changes over time. We observe an increase in residential apartments and offices. Production spaces are placed between new offices and apartments, increasing exposure and interaction with production activities. Retail and entertainment will not be added to the block as a singular form, but instead inserted into production spaces to create a hybrid mix of programs within the block. Circulation pads are introduced to increase connectivity between each building. The retail blocks in 30 years will be able to sustain a decent amount of products for the CBDC citizens, contributing to a more extensive food production network. Overall, the City of Making addresses the disconnection between consumption and production by revealing the making process to urban citizens. Production spaces are exhibited and are visible to the human eye from anywhere close to spaces that consume the most. Temporary and permanent space frame structures organize and expand spaces over time, while architectural devices allow hybrid spaces to exist, creating a diverse interaction and layout to suit the daily ritual of shops and restaurants. Movable farming racks and other production activities are transformed into visible landscape to appreciate the making while consuming.